You're watching CHCO-TV's gavel-to-gavel coverage of the December 2025 regular council meeting for the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte. I'm Florence Mitchell. In today's meeting, under Old Business, Council will move to give a draft amendment to Bylaw EC01 regarding proceedings of Council its third and final reading. Under New Business, Council will move to award a tender for a new fire truck and a tender for snow removal at rural fire halls. Council will also move to borrow $230,000 from the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation for transportation services in Blacks Harbor. Additionally, Council will move to approve Policy 09-2025 regarding response to medical calls. Finally, Council will move to approve the 2026 municipal budget and associated year-end transfers. Now let's join Council at Macadavic Place in St. George.
I will now call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. here at Macadavic Place, St. George. And good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming out tonight. This is our December 2025 regular council meeting for Eastern Charlotte. I welcome all those who are attending tonight and those who are watching on television or their cell phones or the computers tonight as well. And I want to thank CHCO for being here tonight and making sure that everybody has that option to be able to do that. Dawson Hatt is doing the camera tonight. Big thank you to Dawson Hatt. Dawson does this as a volunteer. Florence Mitchell's in the back, and of course, the TV star Vicki Hogarth is right up front here. So it's great to have everybody here. In attendance tonight, we have our CEO, Jason Gaudette, Amy Carter's to my right, and Lori Kelly is right behind Amy Carter, and Lori is our project coordinator for Eastern Charlotte. So thank you all, everybody, for being here tonight. At this point, I would like everybody at this point to join me in a moment of silence to remember and honor our former MLA, Sheldon Lee. The Honorable Sheldon Lee represented our region honorably from 1978 to 2003. It was a remarkable 25 years during which time serving as New Brunswick's Minister of Transportation in Frank McKenna's Liberal government from 1987 to 1999. 12 years where he oversaw many, many major projects, including the building of the Confederation Bridge from 1993 to 97, which connected New Brunswick and PEI. It was a remarkable 8-mile bridge, the longest bridge in the world that crosses ice-covered waters. His accomplishments in this province, particularly in our region, are unparalleled and unlikely to be matched by any future transportation minister. As well, tonight, I would like to take the opportunity to thank a big shout out to Jason Levitt. Jason, along with our staff, for his remarkable work over the 40 hours he put on the Eastern Charlotte Christmas float. So a big shout out to Jason Levitt tonight. At this point, I need a motion to adopt the agenda. So I need, if somebody wants to do it, Councillor Councillor Lee. Seconded by Councillor Thompson. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. At this point, Council, this is your opportunity now to declare any conflict of interest that's in the agenda tonight. If not, we move on to the adoption of the minutes of our previous meetings. I would need a motion for those meetings. Councillor Lee?
I move to approve the minutes as circulated to members of Council for November the 19th, 2025, regular meeting of Council, November the 25th, 2025, Committee of the Whole, December the 9th, 2025, Committee of the Whole, December the 10th, 2025, special meeting.
We have a motion on the floor by Councillor Lee. I need a seconder for that. Councillor Thompson? Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, that's passed unanimously. That brings us right up to number 5, business arising out of the minutes. There are none tonight. Number 6 is delegations. There are none tonight. So that moves us right along. We're almost halfway through the meeting already. Department reports, and this is the general government report first, and I'll go to our CEO for this report.
Thank you, Your Worship. The general government report for the month of November. Finance and HR. Finance is working on year-end and projections, putting together numbers for the budget of 2026. Mark Porter, our accountant, has been on site for several days assisting with the treasurer on financials and draft numbers for the 2026 budget. Job posting has been posted for the casual laborers, for public works, and for the administrative assistant front desk. Water, wastewater on Globe, and staff met with Black Harbor water operators and the operators of the private water source to discuss engineered flushing programs. It is planned to conduct a minor flushing in the month of December, with a larger flushing to take place at a regular period moving forward. For well exploration, on Globe is expecting a delineation report from the province before accessing can be granted on the Crown Reserve Road in Penfield for the well exploration. The plan is still to drill or pump testing over the next couple of months. On Globe is also working on the phase 2, the renewal of the transmission line, which will likely includes a new water reservoir and treatment program, the initial step for funding application for either the SHIFT program or funding application, or a new IBA funding, which has just been announced by the feds. In the new year, On Globe will complete its conditional assessment of the private water system. On Globe has also stated that they would assist in creating the terms of reference for the newly announced subcommittee Public Works relating to communications for the water project. Dredging of the lagoons in Black Harbor is completed on November the 21st and appears to be under budget, I think about $50,000 with some of the early numbers. Childcare and RFQ has been posted for the construction services for like a pre-qualification for contractors. The construction documents are nearly complete, with tendering expected to be at the end of December, with the expectation of start date still in March 2026. Lori Kelly, staff is engaged with daily discussions with the architects and YMCA on the project. Public Works, with the first snow of the season and despite preparations, crews experienced some issues with vehicles and repairs were needed. We are awaiting the delivery of 2 trucks from Ford, likely in January. With winter snow plowing, residents are reminded that Public Works does not plow any of the rural roads, and inquiries on rural plowing should be directed to the Department of Transportation. Parks and Recreation, the Ice View camera at the arena is now active. We're just trying to work with the security provider to allow the camera to go live on our website, so it's a bit of a security system right now. It's tied into our security system, but we're trying to get that public facing so that people can view it. The War Memorial in front of the post office has been completely removed, and now it's met monuments for repair and cleaning. This monument has been a concern for a couple of years. It was removed to the issue of it coming apart, and has not been part of a proposed rejuvenation. It was just a coincidence of time that we had to remove the monument. The monument will return to St. George. However, whether it returns to the plaza or some new locations yet to be determined. We should be determining that in the new year. The heating systems are being installed in the recreation side of the old curling club in the second week of December. And that's at the old curling club in Black Harbor. For fire, the pump trailer has been taken on strength and will be a great asset to the pumping of water and to the fire service. Tender for the new fire truck closed on November the 28th. There were 2 bids received, and I believe that's on agenda for tonight. Dangerous and unsightly, under council's orders, 1 property in a dilapidated home removed in Back Bay. The demolition of another property was ordered at October's council meeting, and his request for demo has been posted. Housing and Development survey and deed documents for the Carlton Street extension in St. George has been completed and sent to the Land Registry Office. We're still awaiting a meeting with the apartment developer for Brunswick Street. We still haven't given up yet. And for Project Village, just an update from Project Village, Matt Rulo. Unfortunately, no new updates, quote, has been reported by Matt on the 2 projects for Black Harbor, so we're still waiting to hear back. I guess they're still waiting to hear back from CMHC to progress those Black Harbor housing projects. So that is my report.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Any questions or comments? Councilor Dederakis, you're first.
So you mentioned how On Globe is also going to be helping assist create a term of reference for a newly announced subcommittee relating to communications for the water project. Are we still on track of having this TOR ready for January?
They've drafted some early drafts of it. So right now, the last couple weeks, they've been working on the flushing program and trying to get that in for the month of December. So they have done some drafting, but that's going to have to come to council. There's lots of points in the terms of reference that have to be decided by council.
Sure. And I appreciate the statement about the monument. Is it possible for the municipality to put out a posting to communicate that this is actually what's going on with the monument, because there is some public misunderstanding of what's going on?
Yeah, I believe we did post a news release just this week, so it should be now active on our website, just stating the issues with the monument and really what the plan is. But yes, definitely, I think there was some confusion on the timing of it being removed, but it's been in discussion at least for 2 years, so it just had to come down before winter.
Purely coincidental.
Exactly.
Yeah. And last thing is, at the last council meeting, I made a motion that we reach out to the New Brunswick Medical Association Education and see what are the sort of financial contributions required to go forward with this.
Yes.
Did you hear back from them?
I did hear something back. I'll share that with council tomorrow. There is some things there. So, I think if I just recall of what the response was, typically most municipalities are providing sort of a scholarship of about $5,000 over a course of about 3 years to sort of help sponsor education of a doctor that would then come work for those 2 or 3 years in the community. So I will send that out. Definitely did receive it.
Perfect, thank you.
I think it's great that we got the camera almost there. The camera on the ice at the arena. With modern technology today, you'll be able to go on and be able to watch your grandchildren's hockey game from your own living room, or if another team comes in, they can watch the games from home. So I think that's great technology. So that's almost there. So I'm quite excited about that. Okay, we'll move on to the report to the Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission. I don't believe anybody's here from the Service Commission tonight.
No.
Do you have a copy of that, Jason?
Sure. So this is the Planning and Building Enforcement report from the Service Commission prepared by Alex Henderson. Alex has given his regrets, couldn't be here tonight. So the planning update, working with the developer in Bethel area on a new private access subdivision proposal. Developer submitted all final subdivision documents for the Hillside Crescent. Final plans approved by the development officer. I believe that's for St. George. Housing specialist, senior planner at Service Commission met with Lori Kelly of Eastern Charlotte to discuss upcoming projects and to better understand how to support each other's work. In November, PRAC was training on procedures and conduct and shoreline protection methods. The Service Commission submitted an ETF application to create an asset management inventory of all natural assets in the region. For development, 25 net new home apartment units permitted to date in 2025, 1 new. 84 building demolition or development permits approved for 2025 to date, 8 new permits issued in the last month, 2 building permits rejected year to date. Total construction value permitted in Eastern Charlotte to date is just $10.5 million. 20 tentative subdivision plans approved for year to date, 2 new subdivision plans with 1 new building lot and 1 parcel approved in the last month. 12 zoning confirmation letters sent to date, 5 variance terms and conditions approvals granted year to date. No new sign permits or documents approved, exemptions or registration in the Provincial Land Registry. For enforcement, 4 new enforcement files opened in the last month. There have been 53 enforcement cases opened since the beginning of 2025. This is enforcement of the Community Planning Act, Building Code Administration Act, or the Dangerous Unsightly Premises for Eastern Charlotte, which are intended to protect public safety and provide a foundation of support long-term community prosperity. 82 properties brought into compliance and have been closed to date since reporting of 2023. and that was submitted by the Service Commission.
Great, thank you, Jason. Any questions or comments on that? None? We'll move ahead to the fire report, and I'll call on Councillor Thompson for that.
The fire report for November 2025, 2 fire calls, 10 public service calls, 8 false alarms, 8 training and meetings, 23 medical calls for a total of 54 calls. I'd like to thank all members for their help with the parades in Eastern Charlotte, and a Merry Christmas and a safe New Year to all the members. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councillor Thompson. Any questions or comments on that? If not, we move ahead to the Public Works report, and I'll call on Councillor McQuarrie.
For Blacks Harbor, Public Works will continue to do regular water checks on the water and wastewater treatment system. The sewer lagoon dredging has been completed. The equipment, 1-ton new bearings on the sand spinner have been replaced, and a new conveyor belt installed on the body box on the truck has been sandblasted and painted. The 3-ton has just had its inspection, repairs to the side step on the box, installed the plow and changed the plow blade. Belt tensioner on the trackless, manifold and bolts, the drive shaft replaced, and the splines plus universal joints replaced. And the garbage truck is due for MVI in January, so pre-inspections are going to be done this month sometime and get it ready for the inspection. That was Blacks Harbor. Now, going to St. George. St. George, they got their new vehicle this week, replacing the old Ford F-250. Leaf cleanup has been ongoing, trying to keep the drains from plugging up. Some gravel shouldering was done on Granite Street and Campbell Hill to build up the sides. The plow frame for truck 3 was brought up from the laydown area, and the trackless sander also to be serviced before the season started. The plow for truck 4 needed a long overdue maintenance. Eventually, all 6 springs were replaced for new. Truck 3 needed to have a small valve replaced for the emissions. Some late month snow saw us rolling equipment for plowing and salting activities. A couple of breakdowns, but they were minor, so everything was under control. New neon crosswalk signs were put onto the new crosswalk lights at the high school. Eastbound lane of Wallace Street had to be barricaded off for Smet Monument's boom truck to be able to remove the monument and take it back for repairs and be brought back at a later date. And as far as water, you guys used up for November 10.9 million gallons of water. And that's it.
Great, thank you very much, Councillor McQuarrie. Any questions or comments? Councillor Dederak, you're first.
I do have a question. So under the water section, Ron Groom mentions that because of the dry weather, well levels of our two primary wells are dropping, and that we need to do some more water exploration for future wells as soon as can be arranged, as demand has not gone down, and future growth will only make issues like we are experiencing now even worse. Do we have anything planned for 2026 for water exploration?
We do. Our IBA for St. George, one of those projects is well exploration. So right now, that process is just looking at what we currently use, what's been forecasted for some new growth, especially in exit 56. Yeah. So then we can kind of build out what sort of a well size we would need. So I think any municipality is always looking for water, and St. George has certainly been one of those as well. So.
And just to clarify, this was something that was committed a few councils ago, wasn't
Yes.
it? Yeah, so this has been an ongoing project.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think any municipality is always looking for an opportunity to find new water for sources. I don't think you ever really give that up. So if you look back at St. George, a lot of water explorations happening behind the high school. So we're sort of now looking towards the exit 56 and that southern portion of Lake Etopia.
Okay.
But yes, it is underway. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, no other questions or comments. I'm going to move ahead to the Parks and Recreation report tonight. Councilor Hatt's not here tonight, so I'll try to give the a condensed version of it. It's a full page. The Zamboni has gone through preventative maintenance and as needed so far this winter. They removed a few arena board advertisements. So if you are a local business and are interested in having your ad on the boards, please reach out to the municipal office for this exciting advertisement opportunity. New security cameras have been installed at the Eastern Charlotte Recreational Complex. The camera for the ice surface, as Jason had said earlier, for ice surface viewing, the public viewing that'll be available soon. A new set of game-ready nets have been ordered. Heat pumps for the gym side. That's a big plus. So we'll be able to have that a little bit warmer in the wintertime. Once again, they met with engineers on the compressor room project. And we were excited to host the annual Andrew Bartlett Memorial Tournament. It was a great weekend full of exciting hockey in our facility. And if anybody was around that weekend, if you went to any business or any restaurant or anything like motels and hotels, everything was full that weekend. Every time I went by a restaurant, you saw all kinds of cars. So the arena creates a great economic spin-off for the area. We are offering free opportunities to get out and enjoy our facility, like pucks and sticks on Monday and Thursdays, adult skating on Tuesdays and Thursday, tots, kiddos on ice on Wednesdays, and open skates on Tuesday. Canal Beach has been all winterized. The splash pad has been winterized. Riverside Park, the buildings and bathrooms have been maintained regularly. The playgrounds, the checks to municipal the playgrounds are done regularly. The community gardens, the water has been shut off. Events, our Christmas kickoff weekend was a total success. All events were well attended. The parade was a huge hit, and a big shout out to all the participants and volunteers who helped make it all happen. And there are so many people, so many businesses that put a lot into the floats and everything. So we can't thank everybody enough. It's because everybody got involved is the reason it was a total success. Any questions or comments on that report tonight? If not, I'm going to move on to committee reports. Councilor Diderakis, do you have a report tonight you want to read? Or?
I actually don't have any reports this month.
You don't? You're not, okay,
No.
You're good. Okay, good. Financial statement. That's the next thing on there tonight. I need a motion to accept the financial reports for November 2025. Councillor Lee, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of accepting the financial reports for November 2025 signify by saying aye. Contrary, that's passed. Old business, the draft amendment bylaw to EC-01, proceedings of council. This is a 9A1, the third and final reading. Council, what is your wish? I do know that there was some discussion last night that there might be an amendment to change just one part of that, of the committees of the whole from 5 days down to 3. Would that, somebody would like to make that amendment to the proceedings bylaw? Deputy Mayor, I see your finger on that. Go ahead.
Just a little hoarse here, so I was kind of hesitant. Yeah, I'd like to, with council's permission, put an amendment to that instead of a 5-day notice, it goes down to 3. Mm-hmm. And also a rider on that, so to speak, that due to a storm cancellation, we could postpone that or reschedule that meeting for 24 hours later.
Gotcha. Great. We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for the third and final reading with the amendment of those two items. I need a seconder for that. You said Councilor Diderakis will second that. Question or comment on the motion?
I do have a comment, actually.
Okay, you go
Yeah,
ahead.
I know of course. So I know that we discussed this last night because there's some hesitation about having 5 days versus 3 days or vice versa. And I was thinking about it more after our committee of the whole meeting. I still think 5 days is a sufficient amount of time. And I guess, there's different ways how you can look at this. The whole reason why I drafted this was to let the public know that, one, we do have committee of a whole meetings, but also to post those agendas in advance so that if they are interested in the subject that we're talking about, that they can come and attend. I guess it depends on like what your angle you're looking at it. Are we looking from the perspective of the public, where, you know, giving them 5 days would give them a sufficient amount of time to make arrangements to attend the meeting? Or are we looking at, does it seem inconvenient just in case something pops up when we have our meetings? Like, you know, one of the concerns was if something pops up, you know, we technically can't amend the agenda, but is it transparent to amend it last minute and talk about things when the public don't know that we're talking about it? But, you know, there's always that section under councilors' concerns where an item can be brought up. So I just don't see how the changing the days would make a difference. That's my stance.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the motion? If there are none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye and raise your hand, please. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and those against, and 1. So that motion is carried. As I declare that the third and final reading of bylaw EC-1, the Proceedings of Council bylaw. Okay, number 10A, results. For the tender for the 2025-005, the new fire truck, Freightliner M2-106 with a Detroit diesel engine. I sound like Bob Barker here describing the prize for the night. So I need a motion of council for this. You want to speak on this first? Jason would like to speak on this.
So this is for tender 2025-05 fire truck and pumper, a new truck. So bids were opened shortly after 2 p.m. on November 28th at the municipal office by staff Eastern Charlotte. There was actually one member of public in attendance and read aloud. Tender proposals were received for one 2026 fire truck, 1,200-gallon pumper tanker, 2-door, 5-passenger, top-mounted enclosed, conventional chassis, automatic transmission with diesel engine. The following tenders were submitted with corresponding bids before HST. So Kimmins Carl Thibault from Quebec, Freightliner M2-106 with Detroit diesel engine. Their tendering bid was $896,540. The second tender was from Metal Fab, New Brunswick, Freightliner M2-106 with Detroit diesel engine for $965,900. No other submissions were received. Funding for the purchase of the new fire truck will be completed via the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board.
Okay. Therefore, the Carl Thibault came in the lowest. So at this point, I need a motion of council. Councilor Thompson, you'd like to read that out?
Be it resolved that council award the contract to tender 25-005 new fire truck to Carl Thibault for the amount of $896,540.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Thompson. I need a seconder for that. Deputy Mayor. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of ordering this brand new fire truck signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. You want to do a follow-up? Sure.
And I guess just for the month of January, we'll be bringing to council on agenda just the motion for application for the Capital Borrowing Board. So it'll just be related to the purchase of the fire truck.
Great. Okay, this brings us to 10B, and the award of RFQ 2025-007, the snow removal for the rural fire halls. I'm going to go Jason to speak on this first.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this was a request for quotations for snow removal for the 3 rural fire halls that we have. The RFQ was sent directly invite to a number of local contractors on November 14th, 2025, and was closed December 12th, 2025. Following quotations were received for snowplow and bidding, consisting of the rural fire hall for the rural fire halls and consisting of Back Bay, Penfield, Second Falls. Prices below are for plowing and sanding per event. Spear Construction, Penfield $230, Second Falls $200, Back Bay $180. Roy Construction, Penfield 125, Second Falls 100, Back Bay 140, and Caltech Construction, Penfield 160, Second Falls 185, and Back Bay 210. All quotations were pre-tax, and I'm not sure if I mentioned that when they're per event. The terms of the agreement is January 2026 to April 2027. Therefore, it's staff recommendations that we accept the lowest bid provided by Roy Construction.
So the CEO is suggesting that we go with Roy. I need a motion for that. Councillor Tidd.
I move that council award the contract for tender 2025-007 snow removal rural fire hydrants to Roy's Construction.
Great. And for the cost, what was the price of it?
The total cost would be $365 per event.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that. Deputy Mayor? Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. 10C is the issue of debenture borrowing, Authority 21-2024. I'm going to go to Jason to speak on this before any motions are made on him.
So this is the borrowing or the issue of the debenture issue of the loan. So as with any borrowing, we have council make a motion to make the application. Then we go through, once we're approved, ministerial approval for that debenture, we go through, we make purchases. It's a very short-term time period. And then we go for the actual long-term loan or debt. So this will be a motion of council to issue the debenture. We made the application for borrowing back in January the 17th, 2024, with short-term borrowing motion on April 17th, 2024. The Ministerial Order 24-0021, which was provided in March the 11th, 2024. This project was the relocation of the Public Works garage and renovations to the building, along with the purchase of 2 storage containers. Both of this has now been completed. We have received all the invoices, so we just need to move ahead with the debenture issue.
Great, thank you. So at this point, I need a motion from council. Councillor Lee.
Be it resolved that the clerk and/or treasurer and/or mayor be authorized to issue and sell to the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation, a local government of Eastern Charlotte debenture in the principal amount of $230,000 on such terms and conditions as are recommended by the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation, and be it resolved that the local government of Eastern Charlotte agree to issue post-dated checks payable to the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation, as and when they are requested in payment of principal and interest charges on the above debenture. Number 1, $20,000 for transportation services, Blacks Harbor, for a term not to exceed 5 years. Number 2, $210,000 for transportation services, Blacks Harbor, for a term not to exceed 20 years.
We have a motion on the floor from Councillor Lee. I need a seconder for that. Okay, Councillor McQuarrie. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed. Okay, that brings us to response for medical calls policy 09-2025. I need I guess Jason will speak on this first.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is policy 09-2025, response for medical calls. So this is regards to the Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue. So the Municipal Fire Service, Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue, responds to a variety of emergency calls in addition to fire prevention and fire control. These calls may include, but are not limited to, motor vehicle accidents, water rescues, and medical calls. Ambulance New Brunswick is known as Medavie Health Service. They are mandated by the province to provide comprehensive and province-wide ambulance service to the citizens and residents and visitors of New Brunswick, and as such are the primary respondents to calls of medical nature. Currently, medical calls are dispatched by Public Safety Communications, PSCC, which is a division of the St. John Police Force. So this policy will be for the Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue. meaning that there will be dispatching levels. So one would be in long ETA for Ambulance New Brunswick, or require of lift assist for patients. In addition to that, they would be dispatched on echo calls, and echo calls are basically calls of cardiac arrest, respiratory arrest, calls where there's really just failure for breathing for their patient. And staffing of medical calls should be limited to 2 members that are properly trained, and any other members should be advised to respond to stand down or as a need-be basis. Once Ambulance New Brunswick has arrived on the scene, takes control, and members of the fire rescue can promptly depart the scene unless requested by ambulance to provide further assistance. So this original policy was reviewed by committee November 13th, 2025, and is before council tonight.
Great, thank you. The only question I had before because I can't speak on when there's a motion made anyway, but the only question I had, did we consult, I know that anytime we make any changes to the fire service, because we've done a lot over the last couple of years, we've always consulted with the fire chief, the district chief, and all the battalion chiefs just to get their side of it, to making sure that they're all right with it. I hate for us to, as a council, make decisions without doing a full consultation with everybody that's involved, especially with volunteers. Volunteer fire department they do a lot of work for us for very low pay. They put their life on the line all the time. I just like always to be able to consult with the different levels of the fire department, like we've always have in the past. So that's just something I've thrown out there before a motion's made, but because I can't debate, I'll get called on point of order. But at this point, I'll leave it up to council. Oh, Councilor Dedirakis.
Sure. I move that council approve policy 09-2025, a response for medical call policy effective January 1st, 2025.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilor Dedirakis. We need a seconder. Councilor Thompson's going to give that as a seconder. Question or comment on the motion? You got Councilor Ted.
So has this indeed been relayed to the membership? Do we know?
I know we have shared this with the fire chief. He's in possession of the draft.
I would just add, I hope if there's, once we implement it, if there's some growing pains, that we could get feedback from the members, because they're the ones that is affected by this policy, so.
Great. Any other question? Councilor Dedirakis.
Sure. I would hope that, like, we didn't just show him the document, we also had conversations with the fire chief and asked for feedback. And I'm assuming that when we made this draft, that this is after getting feedback from him, correct? Yeah, so we did get feedback. I want to just explain why I'm going to be supporting this. In July 2025, our call volume increased by 143%, from 28 to 68 calls, with most of those being medical. And fast forward to today, November 2025, our calls increased again by 80%, so that goes from 30 to 54, and once more, the majority were medical related. Overall, the reports that we get every month show a steady and significant rise in medical calls. And just like our CAO explained, in New Brunswick, the Ambulance New Brunswick is the primary responder for medical emergencies and provides ambulance services across the province. I am supporting this policy because it aims to reduce duplication of services and limits burnout amongst the firefighters, which is a real concern. I'm citing this article that was actually in British Columbia. This is a municipality there. It's the Municipality of Tofino, and this was actually published on November 5th, 2025. This comes from the Time Colonist, if anyone wants to look at this article. And here, the council had to look at the same issue. Their fire chief came to council and told them, and I quote, their fire chief told their council that the escalation in call volume poses challenges for volunteers, I quote, who are often faced with decisions balancing attendance at calls against personal and professional commitments. So it is a real concern, and it's not just like the financial. I know maybe for some councilors it's a financial matter, and that's why they're considering the policy. It is a real concern, the health of our volunteers, and burnout is real. So I hope that the fire department doesn't consider this as us disrespecting them. It's about, using resources wisely, managing costs, and protecting our volunteers while ensuring that the community continues to receive appropriate emergency care.
Thank you, Councilor Dalarakis. Any other questions? Councilor Lee, you're next.
So I just wanted to talk a bit about this too, and what you're saying, Councilor Dalarakis, is absolutely true. We're lucky enough to have all these guys and gals volunteering their time. We don't want to burn them out, but under this new policy, I just read it here, at the ECHO level, they're still out for cardiac arrest, opioid overdose or arrest, respiratory arrest, hazardous scenes, mass casualties, water rescue, motor vehicle accidents. Anytime the ambulance is delayed, they will have to go, or they will be asked to go. They never have to, but they always seem to want to help. And a lift assist, so they're still going to be mighty busy. To cut out some of the non-necessary calls is probably a good thing to help them out, but all these major ones are still going to be under their umbrella if they decide they want to go. There's never a time when a volunteer fire department is told they have to go to a medical call. They don't. That's entirely up to them, so kudos to them for wanting to do this and to help out the community and help out Ambulance New Brunswick, who at times do get delayed. And it is great that we do have a fire department that's trained well enough that if they are delayed, can go get started with whatever needs to be done. So that's all I have to say on that. I just wanted to comment a little bit.
Great, thank you, Councilor Lee, I appreciate it. Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. 10E is the year-end transfers, and I'm going to have Jason speak on this as well.
Thank you, Your Worship. So every time around this year, we go through our finances. Usually, sometimes, I guess that's why if we look at when we do our budget, it's a busy time of the year because we're also putting our budget together, but we're also looking at projections. Some municipalities will just do their budget and let the budget fall where it may be, and maybe a surplus in a couple of years will show up on the budget lines. But we typically try to go through and say, can we move some money to reserves that then can be utilized the very next year. So we've done some of the numbers, and I apologize for council because some of the stuff was right down to the wire with our accountant this week, and plus our treasurer Kathy's been out sick with the flu. The flu has certainly gone through and hit a lot of staff members, some, not all, but mostly everyone's been hit with the flu. So these year-end transfers, we have our water utility, in which tonight there's $300,000 in the St. George Water Utility Fund that we would move into our capital reserve fund of water utility. So then that would increase that capital reserve for the utility or the water system. And then the other one is $400,000 from the general operating reserve, the overall general operating reserve. And I just want to explain to council that $400,000, there's about $150,000 of that's already sort of been earmarked for the purchase of the new trucks. We were hoping to have those trucks paid for by the end of this year, but we just could not get the invoices to reflect a proper VIN number. We did receive invoices, but unfortunately, our auditors wouldn't allow us to pay on those invoices until they had actually been assigned to a true truck. So there is about $150,000 of that's based on purchase of those two new trucks, and the rest would be, of course, just moving into the capital reserve fund. So yeah, this is really movement of two monies before the end of the year that have to be done. $300,000 for the utility of St. George, and then the $400,000 for the general operating fund that would move to the reserve fund.
Okay, I guess we can make one motion for both of them, I guess, as referred to as the year-end transfer. So at this point, I'll go to council to see what your wishes are. Councillor Tidd.
I move that council authorize the transfers of $300,000 from the utility St. George operating fund to the utility St. George capital reserve fund, and a motion of $400,000 from the general operating fund to the general capital reserve fund.
Great, thank you, Councillor Tate. I need a second for that. Deputy Mayor, just up by here. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us to the bigger ones tonight. 10F, budget 2026 resolutions. 10F1, the general operating budget and warrant. I'm going to go to Jason first to speak on this.
Yep, so I guess just we did a budget presentation last week and provided the budget for 2026. I guess just an overview of that is that expenditures there's very little change in the 2025 budget over the 2026 budget. We're remaining around the $6.9 million operating expense. Many people may realize that their property taxes, the assessments were frozen. So there was really no new money that comes just by the assessments going up. The province will adjust property values. That's been frozen. And basically what we've provided for council is a budget that would not have any increases on the tax rate. The tax rates would also hold for the 2026 year. And so really we're looking at the tax rates remaining for Black Harbor 1.41, St. George 1.26, and the rural areas of Eastern Charlotte 0.38. And so we'd also remain that the industrial tax rate would be at a 1.7. And as far as that covers our general fund, as far as utility, our water systems, we're looking at about a $12 increase for the water rate for St. George and a $10 water rate increase for Black's Harbor. And both of those, again, pretty much staying around the same.
Good. Okay, at this point, Council, I need a motion for the general operating budget and warrant. I need a motion for this. So would like to read that motion out tonight. Anybody who wants? Councillor Tidd, thank you.
Be it resolved, as per subsection 99-2 of the Local Governance Act, that the sum of $6,945,410.26 be the total revenue and expenses of the general operating budget of the municipality, that the sum of $5,729,659.26 be the warrant of the municipality for the 2026 year, and that the tax rate for the municipality taxing authority 461 be as follows: Black's Harbor SU1 1.41, St. George SU5 1.26, Eastern Charlotte Rural SU 8.38. The council orders and directs the levy by the Minister of Environment and Local Government of said amount on the real property liable to taxation under the Assessment Act within the municipality of Eastern Charlotte.
Great. I have a motion on the floor by Councillor Tidd, and I thank you very much for that. I need a seconder for that tonight. Councillor Lee? Question or comment on the motion? Councillor Dedirakis, you're first.
Yeah, I'll just say why I'm going to support the budget, because it holds tax rates, which does provide some relief for residents that are struggling, while still maintaining services. We do have a very healthy capital reserve, well over 1.2 million, that council can use for future projects like childcare or beautification, without affecting any of our tax rates. Maybe, as our CEO, could you explain what the capital reserves can be used for and what they cannot be used for?
Yep. So any type of new assets, any capital assets, whether it's land, building, vehicles, anything that's considered anything over $100 or $10,000, sorry, that can be purchased for, or the improvement of our existing capital assets. So any of those reserves, and really, again, that's a discretion of council to utilize those funds and bring them in for any of those reasons.
And just to be clear, because I'm sure there'll be some questions about this, and the capital reserve cannot be used for utility costs, correct?
That's correct. So yeah, so really your general fund is all the money is received, the bulk of the money is received from property taxes. That money cannot be used for water projects or anything like that. The utility fund or the water fund, it's all self-contained. So anything to do with water projects is come out of the utility fund. So that's right, you cannot take property tax revenue and move it to cover water projects. No.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary? That's passed unanimously. Congratulations, Councilor, you just passed the budget. Okay, 10F2, the non-residential heavy industrial tax ratio. You've already spoken on this, Jason, so at this point I'll ask for a motion from Councilor Lee.
Be it resolved as per subsection 992 of the Local Governance Act that the non-resident slash heavy industry tax ratio be 1.7000 for the year of 2026.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilor Lee, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Again, this is a motion stating that the rate has not changed from last year to this year. Any question or comment on the motion, Councilor Tidd?
Just a note about changing that, we can't change that because it's legislated, and 1.7 is the highest we can go, correct?
Bingo, yeah. Any other questions or concerns? Yeah, Councilor Dederack.
A while back, the mayor of St. John, Mayor Reardon, I believe her last name is, she had sent a letter to council asking if we would be interested in supporting keeping the non-residential heavy industrial tax to stay in the municipality rather than being distributed through the province. Did we ever respond to that?
We did, yeah, with council's direction, we did put a letter together to also say, yes, we would support that as well.
Okay,
Definitely, yeah.
perfect.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. And that brings us to 10F3, the utility budget for Blacks Harbor. Jason, you already spoke on that, so at this point, I'll entertain a motion from council. No, Councilor Thompson, great, thank you.
Be it resolved to pursuant to subsection 174 of the Local Governance Act, the sum of $527,062 is a total reserve expense of the utility budget for water sewer operation in Blacks Harbor for the 2026 year.
Great, thank you, Councilor Thompson, I appreciate that. I need a second for that. Councilor McQuarrie? Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us to 10F4, the utility budget for St. George. And Jason's going to speak on that.
I guess just for, for residents just to understand that the Blacks Harbor utility, basically operating cost is about a little over $500,000. For the St. George water utility, it's just a little over $1 million. So it's just people want to have some comparison of what the costs are for running those two water systems.
Great. So at this point, maybe Councilor Dederackis would like to make a motion.
Sure. Be it resolved pursuant to subsection 117(4) of the Local Governance Act, the sum of $1,991,334 is the total revenue and expenses of the utility budget for the water and sewage operations for St. George for the 2026 year.
Great, thank you, Councilor Dederackis, I appreciate that. I need a seconder for that. Councilor McQuarrie, thank you. Question or comment on the motion? Councilor Dederackis, you're first? Oh, I saw you're going for that. No, I don't. Okay. If there's no questions or comments, I take it to a vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. All right, we're getting through this. Water and sewage system fee and charges for Blacks Harbor. I'm going to go to Jason to speak on this.
As mentioned previously, so this would be for the water and sewage system fees for Blacks Harbor. And if we look at the total water sewage for one unit, it's $506, so it's up about $10 over the 2025 year. So there's a variety of different unit configurations within the Blacks Harbor water rate, and you'll also see one later on with St. George as well, but it would be an increase of $10 for the year on the Blacks Harbor rate.
And this is mostly due to electricity rates going up this year, and that would be, the most of it would be that?
Yeah, most of it is, the 4.2 5% increase from the EUB for NB Power. That was a large part of it. And just general cost as well. I mean, we certainly do have some funds in there for water main breaks and repairs as we continue to improve the Black Harbor water system with bringing a lot of monitoring online. When you compare that to St. George, we've had a lot of SCADA systems, digital monitoring. And we've done a lot of that upgrades in Black Harbor, and we'll continue to do that. So that gives us a better understanding of what the system is doing. So there's more of that to come within the 2026 year as well.
And per bill, it works out to what, $3 or so, $3, yeah, 3 times a year. So just around $3 or so increase from last year. That's about it. At this point, I need a motion from council. Councillor Lee.
Be it resolved, per Village of Blacks Harbor bylaw number 92-59, Schedule A, water and sewage rates, the yearly per unit charge of for 2026, Schedule A-2026 for water and sewage be as follows. 1 unit water sewage, $506. Half unit water and sewage, $253. 1 unit sewage only, $296. 1 unit water only, $296. Half unit water or sewage only, $148.
Great, thank you, Councillor Lee. I appreciate that. I need a seconder for that. Councillor Thompson is going to second that. Question or comment on the motions? Councillor Tidd, you're first.
I'm going to be voting against this. I know it's utility and there's a cost of doing business, but I can't sit around this table in good conscience with what's going on with our water system in Blacks Harbor and see any kind of an increase.
Great, I appreciate that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye and raise your hand, please. Okay, we got one, Deputy Mayor, Councilor Dedirakis, Councillor Lee, and Councillor McCrory. That's 4. And those against, put up your hand. Councillor Thompson and Councillor Tidd. Therefore, that motion is carried. Okay, 10F6, the water and sewage system fee and charges for St. George. Again, I'll go to Jason on that.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just with St. George Water Utility, the combined total cost will be an increase of $12. There's a water service, the water rate of moving up to $3.88 and the sewage rate of $1.80, plus the increase of the industrial water rate of $3.52 per 1,000 imperial gallons.
Great. So at this point, I'm entertaining a motion from council on this for 10F6, the water and sewage systems fee and charges for St. George for 2026. Councillor Dedirakis, would you like to make that motion since it's St. George?
Yes, be it resolved per Town of St. George bylaw number 27-C, Schedule A, water and sewage treatment systems fee and charges, the yearly rate for 2026, Schedule A-2026, for water and sewer be as follows. Water, $338, sewage, $180, industrial water, $3.52, and industrial sewage at $3.52.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councillor Dedirakis, and I thank you for that. I need a seconder for that. Councillor Thompson, great. Okay, Councillor Thompson has seconded that, so I need any questions or comments. If there are none, all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us, folks, to correspondence tonight. 11A is from the People's First Sidewalk Request. I'll read the letter out. This is the mayor, to the mayor and council members of Eastern Charlotte. Dear Mayor and Council, it's a request for sidewalk construction to enhance citizen safety from the gazebo to Tim Hortons. We of Eastern Charlotte People First, an advocate group, are writing to propose the construction of sidewalks and crosswalks from the gazebo through to Tim Hortons. With the ever-expanding and very busy consumer area in this part and at the entrance into the municipality, the lack of sidewalks and crosswalks poses serious consideration. The area is already proving to be dangerous for pedestrians, people on bicycles and in electric wheelchairs, and for the drivers of vehicles trying to maneuver around them. Many employees are walking to and from their jobs in these businesses. Consumers with no vehicles need to be able to access these businesses to create safety and inclusivity for those who want or need to walk, including youth, seniors, and people with disabilities. At present, the lack of universal design to this expansion is creating huge safety risks and barriers to access and inclusion. We respectively and kindly request that the municipality consider allocating the required funds for this noble cause. Sincerely, Matthew Johnson, President, Teresa Paul, Advisor, and Madsen Bernard, and as Vice President. There's the ones who signed off on that letter. At this point, Council, what is your wishes to do with this? Deputy Mayor, you go ahead.
One thing I will add, we know there's a major construction project coming for the Tim Hortons area next year, the province, I think 2027, so a little over a year, are going to do a lot of work there, so I think we at least have to wait till that's done before we can. And second thing, I think it has to go to a committee or some kind to get a pricing. Like, we can't commit to sidewalks when we don't have a quote of what it's even going to cost us yet.
So I'm guessing what you're doing, you want to go with option A on your motions?
Yep.
From what you gathered,
Yep.
I'm just going by what you said. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
Well, I hadn't read A, so yes, exactly.
Okay. So you want to go ahead and read A, and then we'll see if we have a seconder for that.
I move that the letter from the People First be referred to the Public Works Committee for review and recommendation.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that. Councilor McQuarrie, thank you. Question or comment on the motion? Councilor Lee, you're first.
I like the idea. I would just like to say, I think it's a great idea. It would be nice if this could happen at some point, and I do agree that we might as well wait until the major construction is done and do it at that point. Otherwise, it would just be tore up again, but it's a great idea, I think.
Any other questions or comments on this motion? The motion is to take the letter from People's First to be referred to the Public Works Committee for review and recommendations. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And contrary, that's passed unanimously. That brings us to public presentation and appearances. Please note under bylaw EC-01, section 7.1, members of the public shall be entitled to address council for 5 minutes with no debate from council on matters of municipal jurisdiction. I ask that you begin by giving your name and civic address for the record, and I will also add during that time I cannot tolerate or allow anybody to make accusations against anybody on any subject that works for Eastern Charlotte, any member of council, or anybody else for that matter. If that happens, I have to stop you, and you lose your opportunity to speak. So the microphones are right there. We got a taker.
Hi, so I'm Tori Hawkins. I live at 51 Monroe Road next to the Connors Brothers owned water source. I have a few questions. So when it comes to the committee, I've reached out to neighboring municipalities about how they form the committee. And the way it's explained to me is it's not that complicated. That's why I asked in my emails to you guys if you needed assistance with that. I think we should be reaching out to other municipalities who know more about that than I do. So there should be no reason that we do not have this draft ready to be approved by January. I'm not sure why the committee has fallen on Globe. It should be the council that is drafting that, as far as I'm concerned. Again, I'm sure that neighboring municipalities would not mind assisting. I've also reached out to the Premier and to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change about the Blacks and Beaver water, environmental, and public health crisis. I want to emphasize that it is a crisis when a community does not have clean water in 2025. And also the effect on the surrounding wells, such as my father's and other neighbors. It's costing around $10,000 to drill a new well each time. I was told by the Minister of Environment and Climate Change office that they had a response prepared for me, but as I reached out to the Premier, she will be taking over and responding to me as soon as she can. And I will be requesting her to come to Blacks herself to make sure that this is a priority as it involves all levels of government funding. Another thing, I also have talked with other councillors and comments on Facebook on our Facebook page should be not restricted. I made 2 comments on the page, and then the comments were shut off, so that was quite interesting. I asked for the policy because I was told it was policy, and I was not given it, and then I was given it by one counselor over the weekend. And I was told that it would be fixed, and it's not been fixed yet. Also, I am wondering why our policies are not made available to the public. And one last question is, I'm curious how you select a company for projects like heat pumps in the area. I'm glad we're getting heat pumps in the arena. I've worked in there. I know how cold it is. But I want to ensure that that was given to somebody local. That's all I got.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, thank you. Oh, same to you. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? There we go. There we go.
My name is Ann Middleton, and I live on Lateet Road. I have some questions about the why. Last night at Committee of the Whole, there was a lot of discussion about giving money outright to start this, to commit to this project. I have some concerns. We build the building, that's the easy part. Building the building's nothing. That's the easy part. Who's going to maintain this? Who's going to mow the grass? Who's going to pay the power bills, the insurance, the taxes? The Y is a big conglomerate. If they wanted a building, they could build it. They could do it themselves. We have a little education center that's going up out in Lake Utopia. Why don't we just give a lump sum to them and say, there, we've made childcare our priority. We fulfilled that for priority. Here's your $500,000. We're out of the childcare business now. Off you go. Good luck. I think we need a new town hall. We need municipal buildings. We need a new fire hall desperately. The Works Department, the municipal building, when that was built, I was around then, I remember going up and thinking, Vernon Meeting and Joan Hatt ran the whole thing out of that little office. Now we have all kinds of people in there with a fire hall and a Works Department. You're breathing those fumes. It can't be healthy. I think we need to use the reserve money, put it aside, build what we need to build on what we have. Take care of it. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. I know it's not easy to get up to the microphone, so I understand that, and especially with the camera on you. And if you can just go right over the microphone.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the mic, they can't on TV, so that's the only problem I've got. The ones. I see. Yeah.
If we have a concern in our area, in the Penfield, Blacks Harbor area, do we send a letter in to your council and then you address it at the next meeting? Is that the proper channel to take?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Always.
Thank you.
Always.
That's all.
Yeah. And I think our emails are available online. So if not, give me a call. I'll make sure you get the. Okay. Absolutely. Good. Okay. We'll move. Anybody else like to? If not, I'm going to move on to statements by members of council tonight. And to finish up, I'll go first. First of all, I truly love meeting with people and being able to celebrate milestones and birthdays and anniversaries and highlighting the people that helped build our area to what it is today. A milestone that has to be mentioned this year, and that is of Cook Aquaculture in celebrating 40 years in business this past year. We are very fortunate as a community to have Cook Aquaculture headquartered in our community. So here's to another 40 years for Cooks. Vance Auto Supply celebrating 50 years of being in business this year. So congratulations this past year on Vance's celebrating that major milestone. Another one, Vance's Garage, same family, 71 years of being in business this year. So big congratulations to Vance's Garage. On a sad note, this past year, this year marks the end to the LeBlancs being franchise owners of our local independent store after 18 years. I'd like to wish Daniel and Mary Beth all the best. These are two people that gave back to the community week in and week out and set the bar very high for the next franchise owners. As your mayor, I have made it my mission to go to every part of Eastern Charlotte to meet with people and let them all know that every person and segment is important to this community. And I want to thank council tonight I want to thank council tonight for passing a budget that holds the tax rate while the province freezes the assessments. This particularly will give young families, first-time homeowners, and especially our seniors, a much-needed break at a time when grocery bills and heating bills are going through the roof. Everybody needs help in the way our economy is headed during these unsettling political times. So I want to thank council for achieving that this year, and I know it wasn't easy. I want to wish everybody of Eastern Charlotte a very merry and joyous Christmas. And whether you live in St. George, Blacks Harbor, Beaver Harbor, Penfield, Bonnie River, Second Falls, Lake Utopia, Letite, Letang, Back Bay, Bethel, Breadalbane, Mascarene, Caithness, Saley's Cove, Greens Point, Diddigwash Lake, Canal, Pokalogan, Johnson Settlement, McCarthy's Point, Lee Settlement, Crow Harbor. Very happy New Year. And I know I may have left one out. I want to send out a big happy birthday to somebody that means a lot to us at the municipal building here, and it means a lot to many people in St. George. And that is to Melvin Dowdy, who will be celebrating his 80th birthday on December the 29th. So happy birthday, my friend. I want to wish every member of the Eastern Charlotte Fire and Rescue and their families a safe holiday. Every one of you are always there for all of us at our darkest moments, be it a house fire, a car accident, medical emergency, or even a rescue. And a thank you is never enough for our fire department. On January the 1st, I'll be holding a mayor's levy to begin 2026, in which everybody is invited to attend at the Macadamic Place beginning at 2 p.m. right here. There'll be refreshments, music, and the awarding of the Hometown Heroes Awards, and everybody is invited. Ladies and gentlemen, time is a gift. Everybody enjoy time with your family, for tomorrow is not promised, and today is. Again, thank you, and God bless everybody. Merry Christmas, and I go to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say the reason I voted for the slight utility increase in Blacks Harbor, I know the water condition there is questionable at best, but the cost of doing business on the regular water service has to carry on regardless. The fire response vote was in the best interest of both the firefighters and the public. These guys are doing an amazing job, and we just don't want them overtaxed being called out for unnecessary reasons, I guess. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Great, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm going to go to Councillor Thompson.
Just like to wish the community a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Councillor Dederekis.
Well, you know, whenever I hear childcare raised, the response that I sometimes hear is that it's not a municipal mandate. But the issue isn't whose mandate it is or who we should be passing the buck to. The proper response is that childcare is a major issue in our community, and as a municipality, we should be doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that this happens, okay? That we can bring more childcare opportunities here. I am well aware that a childcare facility is being built in Lake Utopia. That's amazing. That's great. That puts a small dent into the already existing problem that we have here, but that's not going to solve the issue. That's just a teeny tiny Band-Aid, okay? When I hear that funding things like childcare or recreation is a burden to taxpayers, I scratch my head because I want to ask, you know, what do you want our community to look like? If the goal is just to serve seniors, that's totally fine. You know, there are communities that are just like that. But we need to recognize that seniors also rely on services, and those services are typically delivered by those that are younger. So what are those things that people are looking for? Those younger people, what are they looking for? They're looking for childcare. They're looking for healthcare, they're looking for recreation, they're looking for housing. You know, we hear that, you know, we shouldn't be paying for things that aren't technically our mandate, but every year for the last 3.5 years, we've been budgeting $200,000 a year on a housing incentive program that's had no applications in the last 3 years, and we continue to fund it. Why? Because we recognize that housing is a priority for our area, and we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to do what we can to make this happen. Building houses is not a municipal mandate, but this is our way of being creative as a municipality in finding a creative solution to this problem. In St. George, residents of just St. George are paying $20,000 a year just to keep the doctor's office open, to keep the lights on. I don't hear any complaints by anyone in council or anyone, in the public outside of those areas that we do this. And again, healthcare is not a municipal mandate, but this is our creative way of bringing doctors to the area so people can have a doctor, a primary care physician. And back to the surplus, or what is it called? It's a capital reserve. We're contributing $1.2 million to the surplus. This was in this big pot of money. And that may look good on paper, but how is that making residents' lives better? Okay? What good is it to collect money from residents and not reinvest it into the community? I'm encouraged to hear from council that childcare is a priority, not only to help current residents, but to attract future residents and businesses here. And I look forward to our discussion of how much we are prepared to invest in this project and where this funding will be coming next month. And just to finish this off too is, part of being on council is being able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We are a much larger municipality, so yes, there are lots of little projects, not little projects and big projects that we're working on. There's the water project in Blacks Harbor. We've been talking endlessly about getting a new municipal building, having a new fire hall, a childcare building. Yes, our community needs investments because we are a larger community now. So, and Merry Christmas.
Good. Thank you, Councilor Delarax. I'm going to go to Councilor McQuarrie.
Just want to wish everybody happy holidays, and thanks for coming, and be careful driving because it's going to be a lousy next 7 or 8 days.
Councilor McQuarrie is our resident weatherman, so we always check with him. Thank you, Councilor McQuarrie.
Hi.
Councilor Lee.
Hope you're wrong. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate it. It's nice to see, quite a few people here tonight, and we do appreciate hearing from you and your different opinions, and we'll certainly do everything we can in 2026 to make your wishes come true. Have a good holiday, and see you on the other side.
Great. Councilor Ted.
Just a couple things, I guess. In regards to capital projects and things of that nature, we're talking for next year in our reserve. What concerns me, sitting around this table right now, is how much of that reserve we had to use this year to maintain the tax rate, and how much we had to take out of that in order to maintain it because of the assessment freeze. I guess, in my mind, what's going to happen next year. I know there's a promise by the province that something's going to be done by next year, but we all know how that works out in government usually. So that could cut into our reserve quite a bit just to maintain rates next year. I'm glad that, Tori, you got some traction from the Premier. I'm glad that she's going to take this on herself. I hope more residents of the harbor and outlying areas do the same thing you're doing, because that's what we need. We need pressure to get the province involved to help us along with this project. It's gone on far too long, and we need to get this rectified. And as far as childcare, I agree. We need to make a commitment with that. It would be nice to know what those, which option we're going to go with and what the actual cost is going to be. That way we can find out exactly how much we're going to be giving towards the project, and I'm all for it. And with that, I would like to wish everybody happy holidays.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilor Ted. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Councilor Thompson, thank you.